Oh, shoot. Wow. I don't know why it says that this live stream was scheduled. I didn't schedule it. Hopefully it's live and it's working. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Shout out to you if you take the time to check this thing out live, or if you see this after the fact, thank you for taking the time to do so. Bear with me as I do a little bit of work to get everything squared away here. What a wild 24 hours it's certainly been for the Virginia Department of Corrections, and also just corrections countrywide across this entire country. It's crazy that on my timeline on Facebook, I'm seeing organizations from all over the country talking about this officer who was killed in the state of Virginia at a prison called River North Correctional Center yesterday at 7:53 in the morning. A lot of information has come out since the live stream that I did yesterday. We now know who the officer was who was killed. We're going to talk about that here today. But even more, we know the POS that took this officer's life. We know how much time he's serving, and yeah, we get a look at him here today. So shout out to y'all taking the time to check this thing out live. I'm literally covered in paint. Not sure if you can see that or not. Probably can't. I've been painting all morning. Painting a 4,500 square foot mansion. Painting is what I've been doing. We've been doing a lot of really big work. Over on the Joe Does Stuff side, I've been sharing more about that. But this is such a hard-hitting story that really makes me compelled to want to speak on this situation. I'm seeing so many who are as well also in comment sections of posts of these live streams that I've done, and I'm just glad that I get an opportunity to bring light to this situation, which again is garnering the national spotlight. I made a comment yesterday. I said a couple of things yesterday that I want to further either reiterate or clarify. And I can't remember exactly where I was going with all of that. Son of a gun. When you do it live, sometimes it's like that. I'll remember in a minute. Charles, shout out to you for the channel membership right there. Shout out to everybody taking the time to get up in here. Cole, number 1. Colby, number 2. Curtis, number 3. Curtis, you're usually number 1 up in here. Redskin Chris, what it do? Shout out to you, brother. K9, what it do? Holy Decay, long time. Shout out to you. Man, everybody up in here, appreciate y'all. Red Eye, long time. Yeah, a lot of names I see up in here. I've been seeing y'all for years, and I appreciate y'all taking the time. Also, I want to give a shout-out to an individual who left a comment on yesterday's live stream by the name of Chalice. Chalice is a guy that I was locked up in prison with, somebody that I know from before prison as well. Really great guy. Chalice, if you see this, reach out to me, man. I'd love to connect with you. I know you're doing big things, man. Means a lot to see you in these comments. All right, let's go ahead and get up into this. So yesterday I had made a comment saying, hey, look, how long had this guy who lost his life been a correctional officer for? Was it for years? Was he a rookie? Turns out the individual who lost his life was a guy by the name of Jeremy Lewis Hall. 40 years old. He had been a correctional officer for a little more than a year. Joe with the PowerPoint, shout out to me for having this shit ready to go today. This is a picture of this fallen officer right here, Jeremy Lewis Hall. There was a lot of publications, of pages that were posting about this guy losing his life yesterday. And there were so many people who were commenting on this. People who knew this guy. A guy actually commented on the live stream that I did yesterday. He knew this officer as well and spoke very highly of this guy. And a lot of what I've seen being posted in relation to this guy is people speaking really good about this dude. He was a family man. He was a father. He had a daughter. And he had only been an officer for a little more than a year. and he lost his life doing this. They said that he was a very skilled individual, a blacksmith, a welder. People knew him from other work that, he had done in his past. I wonder what led him to be a correctional officer. They said this guy showed up and he did his job. He never complained. But something would take place that would lead to him losing his life. Was it an argument? Who the hell knows? And also, sad to note, some other information that I can't confirm nor deny, but I'm seeing this being mentioned as well, too. He was stabbed to death, bludgeoned. And so, too, was the other officer who was injured in this situation. There's a guard shortage in the state of Virginia, probably in the nation as well. You've got the director of DOC who's been all over this situation. Hey, look, we're gonna prosecute this offender to the fullest extent of the law. And you've got a lot of current and former correctional officers who are talking about just how screwed up it is to be a correctional officer in the state of Virginia. Let me share a little bit, like something that I learned that I thought was just crazy. I saw this. Again, I can't confirm nor deny this, but I saw somebody post about this. They said for the last 2 years, correctional officers haven't even gotten a Christmas bonus. If that's true, man, that's a real shit situation. Doesn't everybody get a Christmas bonus? But there were a lot of people who spoke very highly of this guy. I now remember what I was trying to say earlier where I lost my train of thought. I had made the comment in yesterday's live stream saying, I don't know, maybe a guard losing their life is more common in a state like California or Texas, a bigger. This shit don't happen for real. You've got the entire country mourning this fallen officer because it's probably been some time since a prison guard was killed at the hands of a prisoner and in such a horrific way as this guy, Jeremy Lewis Hall, lost his life at 7:53 in the morning yesterday morning. Let me share something else with you just to really illustrate just how screwed up all of this is. 40 years old, husband, father. He had been a guard since April of 2024, a little bit more than a year and a half, right? His birthday is November the 25th, 1984. November the 25th is my wife's birthday. He was killed on November the 17th. This man was killed 8 days before his birthday. Yo, man, this joint, it really makes me like uncomfortable just how sickened I am to see a situation like this. And maybe that's weird. I'm a guy that found myself on the opposite side of the law for a lot of my life in the past. It's been 10 years separated from that. But when I was serving time, like, even if you had guards that you didn't like, okay, so what? You respected them. They got a job to do. I read comments on so many posts in relation to this story where people were like, yeah, but what did he do, though? What you mean, what did he do? He probably was doing his damn job. Absolutely sickening. I mean, it really is. So let me go ahead and share with you the individual who did this. I don't know if this is going to come as a shock to you or not. I'm probably going to get canceled for what I'm getting ready to say. But this, folks, is the assailant. A white boy. I don't know why when I heard about this, I immediately thought it was a black guy that did this. I mean, forgive me for that. That probably sounds hella racist. I'm just telling you the damn truth. When I heard about this officer killed, my first thought was it was a black dude that did this. This was probably some sort of racially motivated situation. And when I was reading the comments on these posts from all sorts of different people, them comments were getting very racial, radicalized type of shit. Talking about trees and rope and all sorts of crazy. You're talking about River North, way west in the state of Virginia. Not West Virginia, but the western part of the state. Forgive me for saying that. But look at this little piece of shit right here. This is who took this guy's life. What did you take his life for? You was beefing with this dude? Like, for what? Was you part of some set? Was this some sort of how you got down, how they brought you home? This was the mission you had to carry out? What's crazy about this is this dude wasn't even serving a life sentence. Let's talk about this guy. People are probably still caught up on my last statement. It is what it is. I ain't got nothing left to prove or lose. I'm just telling you the truth. When I heard about this situation, for whatever reason, I thought it was a black dude that did this. Because I assumed that it was a white officer that lost his life without even knowing. I guess that makes me racist. Forgive me for that. I don't intend to ever be that. But I just tell you the God's honest truth. I think a lot of people also assume the same thing based upon those comments that I was reading. So when I saw this guy, I'm not going to lie to you, I was freaking shocked. Like, this dude did this? I mean, when I look at him and I look at the officer that lost his life, like, I thought, maybe they would have been jiving together. So they've identified this guy that killed the officer. His name is John Russell, 32 years old. That name sounds so freaking familiar. Russell, POS, is what we'll refer to him as. He was serving an 11-year, 11-month sentence in total. He was sentenced to 15 years with 8 years and 1 month suspended for carjacking. That happened in 2017. He was in Fairfax, so I definitely didn't know this guy. He got 3 years for use of a firearm and the commission of a felony. A carjacking case, and, I'm ignorant to this. I always assumed that it carried a life sentence. So for this guy to end up with a 15-year sentence with 8 years and 1 month suspended, but he's serving 11 years and 11 months, which is essentially 12 years, he must have ran his time up at some point in time. You wasn't even serving a life sentence. You had a release date. I think to myself, was there a ongoing feud that led to the situation that took place? Like, these guys were riffing or beefing, whatever, the prisoner and the guard? Or was this a situation where, hey, man, buddy just had a bad night and he was just looking for a fight? Maybe somebody took his Junies the night before. Maybe he was sick of it. Maybe his girl left him. I mean, there's no explanation or justification for this. Maybe he's crazy. That's what it is. But he got a few screws loose. He probably got way more than that now. You ain't even have a life sentence. You ain't never got to worry about going home. You're going to leave that bitch in a box. And for what, man? You was a nothing ass person. And you took the life of a father, a husband, a dude who was just trying to go to work. See, I need this to be clarified. Because again, I am the after prison show. The frickin' godfather of this genre. So for me to be seeming like I'm siding with the law in this situation, I don't really care if it seems like that. But this was a man that was going to work just trying to do a job to provide for his family. And you was a scum of the earth. You ain't worth the dirt on the ground. And man, there's a lot more in relation to all of this. So let's say this. This guy, he was serving 11 years, 11 months total sentence. He was sentenced to 15 years with 8 years and 1 month suspended for a carjacking offense that happened in 2017. 3 years for the use of a firearm in the commission of a felony. That also happened in 2017. 4 years and 8 months with 2 years and 8 months suspended for a shoplifting offense in 2016. Man, you went from shoplifting to carjacking to capital murder. They say the Virginia Department of Corrections will never stop saying Officer Jeremy Hall's name, and the people of Virginia should never forget him, says VADOC Director Chad Dotson. Please continue to keep Officer Hall's family and friends in your hearts and minds. But there's a lot of people. CC, what's going on? Shout out to you for the membership right there. Hey, Joe, did you receive the gift I sent you? I did not. I also lost my P.O. box as well, too, so that probably didn't help things. I couldn't afford it, just to be honest with you. Ain't going to be no more cut cards here. Thank you nonetheless, and I'm very sorry that I didn't receive it. Man. So anyways, the director of the DOC says, we should never forget this officer who lost his life. Yeah, that's true and all, but we know next week this will be a story that, ain't nobody talking about for real. But the fact of the matter is, when this is being posted all over Facebook, my entire timeline is either this guy's face or the officer's face. You've got so many people who are saying the DOC is all sorts of screwed up. Lack of officer, staff shortages, and who wants to do this job? You haven't gotten a Christmas bonus in 2 years. The director of the DOC said, and let me stop with this guy because, he ain't worth any more attention. The director of the DOC said that he was at River North all day yesterday. And he said that he was speaking with the night shift and that he would speak with the day shift, which was Officer Hall's shift that he was murdered on. And he said he commended these officers who still took the time to lace up their boots and show up to work, knowing that this situation took place. I said earlier that I want to clarify a lot of things. I had mentioned that, it's not often that you hear about a guard losing their life in prison. When was the last time this happened? I can't honestly tell you, but violence in the state of Virginia at the hands of a prisoner dealt to an officer, I learned yesterday and today, is actually a lot more commonplace than I could have ever imagined. You just had, I think last year, if I read correctly, or if I remember what I read correctly, there was a canine. That's an officer, animal. The canine was killed by a prisoner, probably shanked to death. I don't necessarily know how. So you had a canine that was killed. And then at Wallens Ridge, the level 5, one of the level 5s in Virginia, I think we only got like 2, that in Sussex. There have been a few, maybe even a handful, I don't know, at least 2 that I remember reading about, officers who have been attacked in a very gruesome and violent way, probably fortunate enough to still be here. They're saying Wallens Ridge is off the freaking chain. I just had a guy working with me about 2 weeks ago that I had to part ways with because, we were towing that line between he knows too much about After Prison Show and he's working with me. So, we platonically went in separate directions. But he served a bunch of time, and shout out to him. He's a good guy. I just couldn't work with him. I can't mix business and business. But he told me that Greensville is off the frickin' chain. Told me that Greensville is probably one of the worst prisons in the state right now. And what it's seeming like is all of these prisons are out of control. You get up to these level 3, these level 3, 4s, these level 4s, this shit is turning into gladiator school. You see all these videos coming out on social media with the prisoners wearing the white jumpsuits with the blue stripes on them, prisoners down in Georgia, parading around with these knives on social media for the likes and the clicks and the shares and the ad revenues. People thinking that shit's dope. Oh, shit, let me repost this. Yo, these prisons are freaking out of control. Don't nobody want to do this job. Sad situation, man. Buddy wasn't even a guard for a year and a half. 8 days before his birthday, his life was taken at the hands of some scum of the earth POS. Crazy. I really want to do more in relation to this. Like, I would like to get access to the prisons. I wonder if the director would rock with me on that. I mean, the director of the DOC, the new director of the DOC, he's a very camera-friendly guy. He does a podcast with prisoners. Like, hey, man, I want to be like that other guy who's way more popular than I'll ever be. What was his name? Tommy G. You know Tommy G, the YouTuber who goes into the hood and does all the videos and the documentaries in like the worst neighborhoods? Well, now he's going into the worst jails. He just went into one of the worst jails in Atlanta. Unbelievable video and documentary he put together on that. If you guys haven't seen it, you need to check that out. I want to go to Red Onion, where this piece of shit is definitely at right now. I want to see how he's got to live for the rest of his life, if he even gets much more life. I'd like to get access. JoJo says we all side with the hardworking dad, not this guy. Yeah, absolutely. Let me go back to that guy, even though I said I wasn't going to give him any more attention. I do want to share something more about this. Young guy, 32 years old. Do you think he had any family, any loved ones out there? A prison pen pal, a girlfriend? Maybe she found Jody. Maybe he called home and she was getting the cheeks clapped. Like, who the hell knows? And he snapped. He looks like any freaking run-of-the-mill white guy that I was locked up with. But aside from trying to make fun of this guy, which is the I guess the very most that I could do at this point, I want to talk about what his last 24 hours have probably been like. I mean, just imagine this. You killed a guard. This guy was a martyr at this point. You know, he's a nationwide publicity is what this story has garnered. And just like that comment that JoJo said, they all side with the hardworking dad, not this guy. Damn right. What do you think his last 24 hours in custody have been like? Naked, beat up, bloody, cameras off. Hey, look, man, tear gas. Give them the worst. Give them the most. Virginia doesn't have a death penalty right this second. I think about like last night. I'm, preparing for bed, thinking about this fallen officer and the fact that, he's got a wife and a daughter at home who are never going to see him again. And I'm thinking about this guy. This is before I even knew who this guy was, because they literally just released this guy. It was last night when they released the images and the name of the fallen officer. But I was thinking about this unknown assailant and what him trying to go to sleep last night must have been like. There was no sleep. What's the most that we can do to this guy within, the parameters here? And there's definitely a lot of gray area. You kill a cop, man, hey, good luck. You kill a guard, same scenario. You were in their world. Can you imagine this guy trying to close his eyes to go to sleep? How he could even do that is beyond me. And they're coming in there they got him in the camera cell. They're watching everything that he's doing. As soon as he goes to try to take a shit, rush the cell. Soon as cheeks touch cold steel, rush the cell, bombard this dude, drag him out, beat the shit out of him while he's shitting on himself. I mean, you got to do the most in this situation. They're bringing in grief counselors and, trauma response people. Hey, look, let's talk through this. Man, go get this real life punching bag right here. Go get you some licks. Nick says Tommy G just went to Georgia prison. Yeah, man. So he's doing the prison thing now. Good for him. You know, when you're that popular, I mean, the world is yours. You can do anything that you want to do. But I would like to go to Red Onion. I want to see what is in store for this guy. Chad Dotson, if you're watching this, and I know you know who I am, director of the DOC, hey, let's collab. Let me do the one thing that I never did, and I probably missed my mark in terms of being a content creator. Let's collaborate, okay? Because there's a lot of people who are not appreciating or not really fully thinking that, you know, since this guy came into office as the director of the DOC, you know, that he hasn't done everything that he can do. I don't necessarily know, you know, what can you do? You're short-staffed. Well, how do you make people apply for a job that they don't want? Pay more money. How much money can you actually pay? Let me showcase what a piece of shit like that has in store. Mex says, you're a journalist. Joe, you can. What was his previous charges, Joe? Carjacking, shoplifting, I shit you not, and, you know, use of a firearm in the commission of a felony. He had 12 years left to serve. He got locked up in 2017, maybe 2016. He'd been down for, shit, I don't know, 8 years. Maybe his time was hell. Maybe they was taking his shit literally. And he just couldn't take it no more. I cannot side with, not side with, excuse me for saying that. I cannot try to rationalize or justify why this guy did what he did. There is no excuse. I don't give a damn if he, you know, he was a basket case and he never got the mental health help that he needed. What's done is done. This person, Star, says, dude, he's not at Red Onion. So I saw this person comment quite a bit on my last live stream, essentially being very argumentative with every statement that I made. Where would you assume that he is at, Star? Leah Star, whatever your name is? Where would you assume that he is at? Still at River North, maybe at a medical facility? Tell me where you think he's at. I know that you said that, what did you say? And you know, the respect issue. Yeah, you got to demand respect, or, you know, it's all about respect. It is all about respect in the system. And I think if I can remember correctly, you said you served 10 years somewhere. Yeah, please enlighten me. Redskin Chris, shout out to you. Not to justify it, but that's definitely the hazards of being a CO. Oh, yeah. And that's the sad reality of it, because when a situation like this takes place, hey, I mean, how do you even say that and like feel okay about saying that? Like, yeah, man, hey, that's what you signed up for. There's going to be, look, heads are going to roll behind this situation. Obviously, we weren't doing enough shakedowns. You know, how did this prisoner get whatever weapon that he used? I mean, he seemed like a little son of a gun. He don't really seem like that big of a dude, man. Like, but you catch somebody off guard, you sneak them, slit their throat, whatever you did, for whatever reason. I mean, you've obviously got the upper hand at that point. Crazy. There is no other prison that he could end up at. You know, Red Onion is the most secure, and it's for the most violent. That's exactly what this is for. That's exactly what this is for. Oh, shit. Can't talk right now. Tied up. William, shout out to you, man. Appreciate you checking out the other video. Dead Dog, what it do? Yeah, man. All right, anyways, I'm going to share what this director said, because he's really been making a lot of posts since all of this. The director of the DOC, he made a post 16 hours ago, whatever time that was. That might have been in the middle of the night last night. There are moments when words feel impossibly small. This is one of them. Today I spent time with our River North Correctional Center, and I will be back there tomorrow. I met men and women who are grieving and still lacing up their boots. I wish I had the words to make it better. What I can say is this: we will never stop saying Jeremy Hall's name in VA DOC. And the people of Virginia should never forget him. Officer Hall was a family man. He talked often about his wife and his daughter. He showed up every shift with a smile, with pride in his work, and with a belief in doing the job with excellence. He will be greatly missed. To his family, you are not alone. The VA DOC family stands with you, and we will walk beside you in the days ahead. To the River North team, every shift, including the night shift, I met as they came on tonight, and Officer Hall's shift that I'll see tomorrow, you are heroes. I was struck tonight by the fact that despite what happened, the River North team still reported for duty to protect the Commonwealth. You do a job that most Virginians aren't willing to do, and you do it with courage and professionalism that humbles me. I admire you deeply. You're resilient, but you should not have to be resilient alone. We have to support your needs. We have to support you. We will have the support you need on site, peer support, leadership presence, and anything else that you ask for. My commitment is simple. I am standing with you, and I will get you what you need. Let me be clear about accountability. I have been in close contact with the Commonwealth's attorney, who has pledged to prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. What does that even really mean? The most you can give this guy is a life sentence. Keep him in red onion. That's it. Ain't too much more you can do aside from beat the shit out of him every single day. Star, no worries, man. Oh, yeah, they definitely got other plans for him. I agree with you on that point, for sure. Let me be clear about accountability. I've been in close contact with the Commonwealth's attorney, who has pledged to prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. Okay, great. He's never going home. Sadly, neither is that officer. While I was preparing for bed last night, another thought went through my head, man. I'd love to do a GoFundMe for this situation, or at least contribute to one for his family, for his wife and his daughter. You got Thanksgiving coming up. You got Christmas coming up. This guy probably had the best job that was available at the time, wherever this prison is at, out in freaking Podunk, Virginia. He might not even have been making as much money as he was making in other jobs. Maybe it was the benefits package, the health insurance for his family. The reason why he decided to get into this line of work, I don't necessarily know. But just crazy. I wonder what kind of, I hope that, the family does get some money off of this, because it's a shit situation. As director, I carry a duty to serve our team and the millions of Virginia who depend on us for public safety. I take that duty personally. There are critics who speak loudly from the sidelines. They have certainly been a lot of people saying a lot of things, myself included. Many who have never stood a post, never walked a tier, never notified a family. Our people do those hard things with quiet honor. They deserve respect everywhere from everyone. In the days to come, I will share information about honoring Officer Hall, and we will remain present at River North as long as it takes. For now, I ask the Commonwealth to keep his family and our River North team in your prayers and heart. We will honor Jeremy by saying his name, by carrying his family and his co-workers, and we will honor him by doing the work together with courage and dignity that Jeremy Hall brought to every single shift. There are a lot of comments on this, and a lot of people had a lot of things to say. Like this person right here. From someone who worked in that environment and now working to keep your correctional officers from self-harm on the daily now, since the K-9 was killed last year and the threat was made to all correctional officers, and not to mention there was a brutal attack on May the 2nd, 2025 at Wallens Ridge, and officers and myself can report being attacked by an inmate in March of 2005 at Wallens Ridge. Anyway, so a lot of shit has been going on. They're talking about the fact that they don't have enough guards per pod. When you have these prisons that have over 1,000 prisoners and you don't have enough guards on shift. And that these prisoners are freaking straight psychopaths as well. Yeah, man. Oh, man. Unreal. Unreal. So again, I had to do this live stream. This is the guard that lost his life, Jeremy Lewis Hall, 40 years old. He had only been a guard for a year and a half. I had to do this live stream because I did the one yesterday and so much more information has come out that, we didn't have yesterday. And, nothing good is going to come of this. Nothing good. Does some kind of change happen? I can tell you one thing. River North is certainly going to be a prison that you do not want to be at. Maybe Leah was right. Maybe they will keep this guy there because they're going to turn this bitch into the next Red Onion. They're going to turn that place upside down. They're going to get every piece of freaking metal up out of that place, or at least they're going to try to. They're going to have to dig up the whole rec yard because most of that shit's buried out there, I imagine. That's usually how it is. Yeah, it ain't going to be no place to be a prisoner at these days. That's for damn sure. First sign of trouble, even raise your voice, you're probably getting pepper sprayed from here on out. I wanted to address this. My heart goes out to the victim's family, to his daughter. I just can't even imagine. You lost your father to a job that it can be like that. It can be like that. But again, it is interesting to see nationwide notoriety. I didn't even realize that you had so many different Facebook groups for so many different correctional officers, correctional officers of Florida and, every state essentially. Everybody is talking about this situation, and sad to think that, they shouldn't have to be. That's all I got in relation to this. I wanted to bring you guys the most that I know in relation to this. What's it going to be like for the rest of that guy's life? However much life he had, he'll probably end up hanging it up. They'll probably give him every opportunity to. Here's the sheet. Here's the rope. Go ahead and do yourself a favor because you got nothing good coming for you. But that would be the easy way out, wouldn't it? Anyways, I do got to wrap this up. Sorry, it just was a quick little stream. It's easier for me to do these live streams to be able to kick it with you guys a little bit, to bring you this information because I am out working my tail off. So I don't have the time that I really want to be, putting these videos together. But this works just as well. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for taking the time to rock with me on this, to hear me out in relation to this. And, for all of your comments, in relation to this situation. I'm going to continue to bring you guys more content. It's obviously a hell of a lot easier for me to stream it, so I'm going to try to be able to do so. But, yeah, you keep this guy's family in your thoughts and prayers. And, again, I appreciate y'all letting me share. I'll be bringing you guys more content just as soon as I possibly can. Hey, look, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment. I'm going to wrap this up just like I do most all the videos. And as always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day. Peace!